everyone, Kristina here with your Divine Love reading for the week of December 19th through January 1st, 2017. Happy New Year, everybody. And thank you so much for joining me and making my first month on YouTube a success. I'm so excited and grateful for your support. And if you would like a personal and private reading with me, I will leave that information down below. And this month's reading, or this week's reading, wow, I'm already like, it's next year, it's whatever. Okay, this week's reading is a time of gentleness. There's a really interesting card in here. I am not gonna lie to you. I had to pull a clarifier because I was like, whoa, I am not going to be responsible with that. Okay, so, let's just get into it, all right? So the way I do this, if you are new, welcome. I pull cards for what's drawing each partner toward union, what's drawing each partner away from union. There are also masculine and feminine energies guiding and balancing each partner. And the reason I don't do a masculine partner and a feminine partner is, well, there's a lot of reasons, but one of the major reasons is that if you are on the twin flame path and coming into union, one of the major things that has to happen before that can come to fruition is each partner has to balance out their masculine and feminine. So that's why I do it that way. The other thing I do with the spread is one side is the energies for us, like us engaging with this video, and then the other side of the spread has to do with our counterparts who are presumably somewhere else, okay? And now, with all of that explanation, let's get into it. Starting with our side, the energies currently surrounding us, we have the Two of Farms. And, you know, this card, there's a couple messages on this card for us. One of them is, okay, in the traditional, oh man, the sun, I've been battling this shadow moving across the screen all day, okay, or all morning. Okay, so in the traditional tarot, the Two of Farms is also like the Two of Coins, the Two of Pentacles, and it shows a person in the foreground kind of juggling two coins, and there's usually like an infinity sign, and they're trying to come into balance. And what we have for us is, it is about that balance. And when you see what's going on with our masculine and feminine energies, this is about balancing our material existence, our work, our paid work, with, you know, the rest of our, I mean, it's kind of about balancing our finances too, but it's also like, so that material aspect with our spiritual aspect. So it's bringing those two things into balance and maintaining our balance while these other energies are going on with our partners. I am very surprised. Actually, I want to pause for a second because I am so surprised at how closely each of the weekly readings stayed with what the monthly reading was about. I mean, you'll see it in here too. So this is about us maintaining our balance. Also about us, you see there's the black sheep and the white sheep. And this is about us continuing to balance our light and dark, keeping our love and our fear in check. Well, keeping our fear in check. If you're on this path, you have some intuitive abilities of your own, and one of the most difficult things, if you are intuitive, especially if you are either new to it or you've got some circumstances that are kind of pulling you out of your, or away from your intuition, fear is like the number one thing that will get you out of touch with your own intuitive voice, like immediately, okay? And it's a really hard one to overcome. But so this is really telling us about, like, you got to keep that fear in check. You know, like, stay up on this high ridge, stay in that love, that loving and hopeful space. Not delusional. I know that, see, this is where, that actually is where we get ourselves really out of balance. Because we're trying to be, you know, we're trying to be not delusional. We're trying to keep our intuition. We're trying to keep our hope. And that balance between hope and delusion, it can be a very difficult one. Same with our you know, our intuition and, you know, the ways that we can be really harsh to ourselves as we are kind of noticing, you know, I'm really trying to keep myself on tight rein so I don't go. I mean, you saw me last week in last week's reading. There was like all of these really great message cards, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to be responsible with that. And even like one of the cards today, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be responsible with that. Like, I'm so concerned about policing my own intuition that I can sometimes just like lose touch with it. So this card is just about keeping everything in balance, you know, keeping our hopes and our fears in, you know, in balance with each other, keeping our finances. We're in that last week right after, you know, gift giving holidays, whether it's Hanukkah or Christmas for you. This, like, we're in the last throes after spending lots of money, you know. So this is about kind of bringing those things into balance for ourselves. Okay. I'm gonna do, gosh, the energies drawing us toward divine love and union and pulling us away are almost contradictory. But I'm going to start, gosh, I'm not sure where to start. Let's start with what's drawing us toward union, because it actually gets more positive from there. Because look at this card, you guys. Drawing us away, or excuse me, drawing us toward union is the Ten of Skies, and it's this little bird who has just had it. And you know, this is another of those times when the path through hardship is through it, you know, like we only get to the other side of hardship by just going straight through it. And this is kind of a continuation of the last couple weeks where, you know, our counterpart was going through stuff, and but this is not about enduring their hard stuff. This is actually about it, like doing that life review, the year review. This has been a very tough year for all of us, really. And so this card is about all of those things we've been carrying with us, including the hard energies, you know, of our partners as we know that they're going through things. It's time to let that go, you know, like it's time to just put the bags down, all right? And so for this card, or for this energy that's drawing us, I am about to move this because this is just silly. Here we go. I'm just gonna move. There. All right. Slightly better, and then the sun will change. Okay, so this is really just about us, kind of like, it's not a rock bottom for us, but it's just like a lay down your swords and be done. For like, stop fighting. You know, just let. You'll see when we get to the energies of the whole union, it's like, just reflect on everything you've been through up to this point, and kind of just be proud of yourself for getting through all of it, and just know that things are changing. You know, things are looking up. I'm gonna, stinking lights. Okay, moving on. Now, what is drawing us away from union? And this, like, I was like, whoa, what? We have the Hierophant, and it's David Bowie. Basically, like, this card is my David Bowie card, and I was like, drawing us away from union? David Bowie would not lead me astray. So, of course, I had to pull an additional clarifier, and you know, when I'm trying to clarify, I'm like, give it to me straight. So I get that deck. And then I got the Ten of Cups, and it's like, how is this possibly, how are these two cards the things that are drawing us away? And basically what this comes down to is, you know, again, that intuition, the hope, delusion, that whole thing. This is, you know, we've been given, you know, kind of the visions, the signs, the dreams, all of that stuff. We've been given those things. Okay, this is the divine masculine. This is the masculine counterpart to the High Priestess, which is about, you know, that real connection to the 5D space, to spirit, our intuition, all of those things. And because we've been given that vision, we know that this Ten of Cups happy ending is waiting for us. And it's really important that we don't get ahead of ourselves. You know, we got to keep ourselves, we have to stay present in the now moment, even though we've been given a glimpse, you know, even though David Bowie's been leaving hundreds of clues and pointing the way, we cannot get ahead of what the present moment is bringing to us. And you'll see when we get to the advice card how incredibly important that's going to be. I have one more thing with this. Happy endings. Oh, yeah, because like I actually said the exact same words in, I think it was the monthly reading about we can't get ahead of ourselves. Like we always take on too many things, and you know, it's like, oh, I've got all these ideas, I'm going to do all of them right this instant. It's like, no, there really are only 24 hours in the day, no matter what if you're an Illumin twin and there's like weird stuff is going on with your time-space continuum, the reality is your 3D reality is 24 hours and the amount of energy that you hold. So you can't get ahead. And when you get ahead and start living in that future moment, and this is not like not visualizing, you know, this is not the same as visualizing what you are trying to manifest. That's not the kind of getting ahead of yourselves. It's like, you know, the union, like the path to divine love and 3D union has stages and it has a real terrain to it, and you have to walk the terrain that you're on. So, you know, skipping ahead to the finish line or behaving as though you're already in the finish line is a thing that really pulls you, you know, disconnects you from that divine love because you're not living in the current moment as it is. Okay, and so that taking on too many things, getting ahead of yourself, this is like, no, just be in the tough part of what this is right now. Like, we're in the hard terrain, just be in it. Be in the storm. Be in the storm like this little bird. Be tired in that storm. We need it. Okay, all right. Now, moving on to the masculine and feminine aspects that are trying to come into balance or that are guiding us. This is, excuse me, I'm going to just get a drink real quick. Okay, excuse me. Sorry, now I'm like way ahead of myself. Talk about like, okay, so in the monthly December reading, we were shown that we've got all those 10 of, we had 10 of earth, 10 of coins, 10 of pentacles, and it was all about like building this material foundation for ourselves, a real happy ending that is like material and to some extent financially abundant, and you know is and not just abundant but like and more than stable. Okay, like this is like a real prosperity, which is who we have for our feminine. Oh, there we go. So yeah, so now I've got just like every kind of glare. Okay, so here's Lakshmi, and her keyword is prosperity. And what I think is so great is that she arrives with Ganesha, who is the god of he breaks down obstacles. And what I think is so fantastic is they came out together, which is how they kind of appear. Excuse me, I need, wow, my whole camera situation right now is I'm being ridiculous. So these two appear together in their kind of native mythology. They often appear together because Ganesha is the remover of obstacles from prosperity, like, or you know, that stands between you and prosperity. I'm gonna move again. No, wow, I am like right between these two like weird light things. Here we go. And so I think it's really great that they're arriving together. You know, we've had some previous weekly readings where, you know, we'll have a god or an entity or a deity on our side who is part of a narrative with another deity, and then our counterpart will have that deity on their side. You know, these are two separate decks. You know, I pull from them separately, and this is great. Bottom line, this is great. And the thing that actually is being echoed here, and this is why I think it's kind of amazing the way the dang it, Okay. Kind of amazing the way the these two cards together are echoing the monthly reading. Is we had a card that was about getting out of our own ways. It was the Seven of Wands. And I think in that particular deck, the key word on it was success. And basically it was like, we had to do some, like a little self-check on what barriers are we building between ourselves and our own prosperity. And this week is about like, yeah, take a look at that. Like, how are we, not managing our own prosperity well? Like what's in our mindset that makes us think that we always have to be in a state of lack or in a state of wanting and chasing this instead of just having it and receiving it? Okay, so these are the two energies this for them in the masculine and feminine for us this week, echoing the monthly reading. And if you haven't, because of maybe stuff that was going on the other side of the spread, if you haven't been paying attention to this is the week. Like, you really need to, we really need to take a look at this so that we can so we don't take those barriers with us into the new year. All right, we're in 2017 is a 1 year, and I cannot wait to get into the readings for that. But yeah, 2017 is a 1 year, and so we really need to break these barriers down and leave them in 2016 with everything else that we've been getting rid of. All right. Okay, let's move over to our counterpart side. I'm going to move. All right. This is going to be a really fascinating little video. I should probably edit. Okay. So the energy surrounding them right now, they have the Empress. Yeah, I'm not really avoiding this, am I? All right, I just had to switch again, and I think this is going to be on my face for a little while. I'll just move in and out of this frame. Okay, on their side, they have the Empress. And as you know, the Empress, this is about creation. They are in a space of, before we were talking about how they were going to be the stewards of their own lives, they're now in a creation stage. When you see their masculine and feminine energies, you will see how they are really embracing their own divine feminine. This is also the divine mother. Wow. If your counterpart has any wounding around their mother, I think that this is a week where they'll start to take it on. But I think for more people, this is about like them starting to create in a material way. And what I think is really interesting about this is that it's not the magician. The magician is also about kind of bringing into material reality this stuff that's been in the ether. But this is a very different kind of creation energy. This feels more earthy, even though it is, because she's a gardener, even though it is about manifestation in material reality. Like that, it's that gardening thing. Like they're starting, this is a nurturing energy more than it's a poof energy, which is like what the magician has. So I just, this is such a welcome sign, especially because they've just had like straight chaos. I mean, they have been doing this all month, and now they're entering a period of softness. It doesn't come without some hardship, but it's a period of softness, and this should come as a relief to us who are mindful of them and kind of paying attention to what's going on for them. So yeah, this is a nice one. Oh, also with the gardening, this is also that nurturing energy, but they are laying some, remember how last week I was talking about they come back to soil? The planting is happening, they're really, after last week with the stripping down, they're now doing some planting. That's a very encouraging sign. Pulling them away from divine love is man, they in a lot of ways, they just can't escape themselves. It's the wheel, this time it's about kind of like their old stuff just coming around. They're just kind of on their own merry-go-round of their own things. So this is coming up for them, this Divine Mother energy, when they are pulling themselves away from union. It's because they're not changing anything. It's like, what's the phrase? I think it's an Einstein quote, or I don't know. Yeah. Well, I know I probably needed to eat breakfast before I started this. Like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. That's this. Okay, so they're when they are drawing themselves out of alignment with divine love, it's because they're doing their same habits. And to some extent, this might include you. Like they might be interacting with you in some of the old ways, and which actually in some ways might draw you into this habit. Ooh, that's a weird glare. Might draw the white balance. This might draw you into some weird habits because your tendency might be to behave as if all of this has already transpired and we're just kind of not there yet. And so they're like, and so they pull away because, oh my God, we haven't done all of that yet. So like you're on page 435 of the story and they're like on page 10 and they're like, what are you talking about? What are you doing? Okay, so this is, so we're out of the chapters that they're not in. I really think that oh my gosh, there's like a big revelation. I think that we might be done with the chapter that they're not in. This doesn't mean that union is happening. It just means that there's going to be kind of a thawing of any kind of cold, like a little Cold War that you might have been having around, like a stalemate, a communication stalemate. If there's been like a wall of silence or some frozen stuff going on, it seems that may be thawing now. There may be some communication, like those messages that we were talking about last week. They're starting to make that turn, and it really is kind of up to us to sort of follow their lead a little bit more. And it's not so much about like, I gotta stay in my lane, I gotta, everybody needs to relax this week. Everyone needs to be just softer and kinder and more compassionate with ourselves and the interaction that we're having with each other. You'll see when we get there. But it's like cut yourself a break. This is hard. Everything about this is hard. The stuff that's going on in their lives is hard. The stuff that we're doing is hard. Bringing, chasing our own dream, our own personal legend. It's hard, So we're all just keeping on, and being kind to ourselves and compassionate through that process is like the best thing that we can do for ourselves at the moment. Here's what is drawing them toward union, and this is their sense, this is their triumphant. I think, was this the card last week? I didn't actually check, but I remember saying this is not their triumphant return to us, and I think that's still true. This is still about their triumphant return to themselves. They are starting to recognize themselves again. They're starting to feel a little bit more, like they're not this bird laying on its back anymore. They're getting up, they're flying, they're kind of reclaiming their space a little, their selves a little. And you'll see, actually, let's just go to their masculine and feminine cards, because it's very much connected. So their feminine aspect is Rhiannon, and her keywords are self-trust. This is an interesting story. Her story is fascinating. So she is a Welsh goddess, and she marries a king, has a child, and the king's mother is incredibly jealous of this new baby and the new wife. And and talk about, like, if you've ever dated the oldest son of anybody, holy smokes, you've probably experienced this. Look at that mother energy in here. I'm just saying. Okay, so So the mother of the king gets really, really jealous, and so she kills the baby and blames it on Rhiannon, like puts blood on Rhiannon's hands, and goes around and convinces everybody how terrible Rhiannon is because she killed her own child. And Rhiannon is so like, she doesn't remember doing it, but maybe she did. And so then she says out loud, maybe I did do that, and which is basically damning. And so then her husband, the king, has to punish her, and her punishment is to carry all the visitors to the castle on her back like a horse. And she does that for a while. I mean, she just sort of, accepts her punishment because she thinks that she deserves it. I mean, wow, like that phrase right there, accepts the punishment because she thinks she deserves it, is absolutely a narrative that runs through a lot of twin flame partnerships, a lot of divine partnerships. So I just want to draw your attention to that. You'll know what to do with it, especially if you've had a reading with me. There's a lot of solar plexus stuff going on in I mean, I don't mean to laugh about it, but it does seem to be a theme that it's a prevalent theme. It's not the across the board. Anyway, okay, so back to Rhiannon. So as Rhiannon is like, she's doing this, and she starts to reflect and figures out like, wait, I could not have done that. I did not do that. And she restores her trust and confidence in herself. And when she does it, she starts to fight back. She starts to come back to herself like, I would never have done that. And she regains her confidence, and through that is able to redeem herself. You guys, oh my gosh, I just got a huge charge from there. Oh, okay. I'm trying not to cry. That was, oh God, that was huge. They redeem themselves. We don't redeem them we're not. They restore their trust in themselves. They come back to themselves. They start hearing and seeing and listening to their own messages from their heart. This is wonderful. I'm trying so hard not to completely lose my shit right now. Excuse me. You guys. Their faith in themselves is restored. They understand, they start to realize how much they don't deserve all of the punishment that they have been loading onto themselves. And, the masculine energy, okay, so here's where it gets a little tempered. We need to, sorry, yeah. So their masculine energy is Typhon, and the key word here is anger and rage. And you know what, she had to get mad. She had to get pissed off to go like, no, I would never have done that, right? To restore her own faith. This is a little bit different kind of anger and rage that they'll be dealing with. Their masculine energy, it's like, they have to, there's going to be some anger and rage about, the stuff that doesn't belong to them, but really more so it's an anger and rage at themselves. This is what they're balancing out. It's the anger and rage at themselves, which is the self-punishment. And I mean, look, you can even see these like spikes and thorns on his armor. There's still a little bit of fight. I mean, that's a very deep and personal internal struggle when you're trying to come back to this. And yeah, it's gonna require a little bit of getting mad at whomever put that on them, and what they're figuring out is it was kind of themselves. So they just kind of have to get, this is a different kind of sick of their own bullshit. This is more of like okay, so what I'm being told right now is whatever was happening for them in these last 2 weeks is stirring up a lot of old stuff, like some old inner child stuff, and they're working out any anger around that, and they've really felt, here's what it is, they've really felt like they haven't had a right to that anger. And so this just, it feels more like chaos as they're trying to Like it's an overall feeling of chaos as they're trying to grapple with what to do with this anger that's been kind of like misplaced within them for so long. Okay. Wow, you guys. Okay, let's just be with this and send them like big golden energy. Like this is a time when we can just totally send some golden energy to our counterpart as they are restoring their trust in themselves. Okay. All right. So now moving into the energies of the union itself, 2 cards, and they look kind of tough, but given what's going on, and I pulled, or I didn't pull. Let me show you the cards. Okay. Sorrow. This makes sense because of, just stuff that's been going on for them, and then also reflection. So this is the life review. This is like, we're coming into the end of the year, New Year's Eve, the new year, and this is a time of reflection. And this is a time of that, their own sorrow about like the most recent events, our own sorrow about everything we've been through, both on our own and with them, over the course of the year. And this is, so what my guides are really wanting to emphasize here is, like, don't be sad. Okay, they're saying, like, right now as an observer watching this, don't be sad that these are the cards. What they're saying is allow your space for the grief. Grieve everything that you need to let go of this year. Grieve it. Actually, and this month, or this week, on the 29th, we have a new moon. So, like the full moon is about kind of letting things go, but the new moon is about planting. It's about planting. We are planting too. We are planting. We are getting rid of stuff. So this is like, let go of the things that haven't been serving you. Grieve the tough emotional stuff that you've been through with your twin, with yourself. Do that. This is the week for it. This is that quiet period of time in between, the Christmas, Hanukkah gatherings, Kwanzaa. I'm not actually sure. Kwanzaa has a different kind of ritual that goes with it, but I don't want to go totally on that sidetrack. Anyway, in between that and then when we get to this like New Year's Eve, which is a lot more raucous in terms of like an observance, a holiday ritual. So this is just saying, like, take that quiet time. And, this reading goes all the way through January 1st, so let yourself have it on the 31st, on the 1st. And really, this might even be a good year to skip the big kind of crazy holidays, or like the crazy partying, if that's something that's usually part of your routine, or, depending on where you are in your life, probably. Like this actually is one of the years that it's time to just kind of sit and kind of observe the passing of the year, the turning of the calendar page on your own. This would be a really nice night for solitude. Okay. Oh, before I go on, they also want to look at this light. This time of reflection, even with the sorrow, this is still about light. This is the divine love. Okay? All of the things that you had to go through, everything that you might be grieving, was the part of the terrain. It's the golden path. It is the terrain on the golden path toward divine love. So that reflection, the grieving, don't mistake that for darkness or mistakes. It was all getting us closer. Okay. All right. Where do I want to go now? Oh, right. So it's my year with Rumi. And so I would just like to read the poem for January 1st, because I think it so beautifully captures what we're doing this week, what we'll be doing on December 31st, what our counterpart is doing. It's called A Just Finishing Candle. A candle is made to become entirely flame. In that annihilating moment, it has no shadow. It is nothing but a tongue of light describing a refuge. Just look at this. No, excuse me. Look at this just finishing candle stub as someone who is finally safe from virtue and vice. And the pride and the shame we claim from those. Sorry, I totally was getting excited and ahead of the poem. Let me read it one more time in its entirety without wanting to tell you about it. Okay. A just finishing candle. A candle is made to become entirely flame. In that annihilating moment, it has no shadow. It is nothing but a tongue of light describing a refuge. Look at this just finishing candle stub as someone who is finally safe from virtue and vice, the pride and the shame we claim from those. So this is what I was saying about when we do this reflection, when the candle is burning itself out, there's nothing to create a shadow anymore. It's just the wick and the flame. And so it is this, the sorrow, even the sorrow is not shadow. It's not blame. It's not saint. It's not that saint and sinner thing. Okay. It's not even this light and dark, right? It's just the light. This reflection that we're doing at the end of the year is just light. It is, that shame, it said, the shame, we're free, we're finally safe from that evaluation, the judgment that we make of ourselves, of whether we're good or whether we're bad or whether we're on the path or off of it. Pride and shame that we claim from virtue and vice. So, this end of the year energy is grieve the stuff, just grieve it, and know that it is neither good nor bad. It's just stuff that was on the path, stuff that you're letting go, stuff that brought you into this divine love. I like that. Okay. Now, the advice for the week. Holy crap, you guys. Let's all just take a moment and promise ourselves we're going to be responsible with this. So you have sacred sexuality. And I actually, for some of you who got into contact last week with all those messenger cards, this might be happening for you. I mean, actual 3D coupling may be happening for you. But okay, so before I get super carried away about that, this card is about, there's a change, a shift in that coupling where, maybe if you've been sexually intimate with your partner already, something is going to shift there where the divine enters, the divine as embodied in each of you becomes part of this. Okay. Now, I think that's probably going to be the case for a very small portion of people who are watching this video. I think for more of us, this is about returning the divine into our own sense of our sexual and sensual selves. And so this card is really more about that sacred sexuality that includes the divine, that we reestablish that connection to the divine as part of our expression of this. Okay. But yeah, like I said, for those of you who may be coming into contact and really having getting to the point where this is something that may be happening for you, this is about maintaining your connection to your own divinity, connecting to the divinity in your partner, and having that be what is happening, in this coupling. This could be in the 5D too. I mean, this might be happening in dreams. This might be happening through astral travel. If you are at a distance from your partner, that could be this as well. Now, of course, I said, holy crap, I need to be responsible with this. So I pulled a clarifying card. And this is going to be hard to see. There we go. Okay. So I got the Hierophant. And look at the difference. Okay, so here's our David Bowie, right? But this one, you can see he's like, there's this really tall box, and he's pulling the lid back, and it's like letting out all of this light, and it is divine release. We are finally in this. The advice for us as far as this this card about sacred sexuality is, it's time to stop boxing up the divine, our divinity, to stop separating our inherent divinity from our sexuality. This is, I've had quite a few readings over the past few weeks where the sacral chakra required healing in this particular way. Like, we've been taught so much, like we've been alienated from our divinity when we are being sexually expressive. And so these two cards are really about like rejoining these two, re-embedding the divine into our sacred sexuality. And I think it's equally important that this is the Hierophant echoing this one, but also this is still the divine masculine. And so this is about the divine masculine kind of returning, the masculinity in its lower kind of shadow states do not engage sexually, do not express sexually in divine ways. Like that is like almost the initial alienation, right? Is to pull the divine out of masculine sexuality. And so, they're returning to it. Look at this, all of the softening that's happening for them. They're returning to this divinity. They're starting to kind of come back to their own divinity, to seek it out. And it's not even that they recognize it in themselves. It's like they have this epiphany where they decide, I need to seek this out. I know that's in there. I know that's in me somewhere. Let me search for it. And so then they open up, they open up there we go. They open up this box where they've kind of had it kind of shut away, and all that light returns. So that's lovely and wonderful. Okay. Of course, I had to pull, I pulled two I pulled two soul cards, just to give us, I'm really liking this, like there's kind of the verbal, conscious awareness, soul energy of the union, and then there's kind of just the straight soul energy of the union. There are two cards. I do believe that this one is for us, and this one is for them. Okay, let me talk about them one at a time. So on our side, this is about us, being kind to ourselves, that compassion. I'm really liking this flower. It's like it's being soft with our thoughts. Okay, so being kind of gentle as we're this little fragile bird who's flying through a storm. Carry the softness of compassionate thoughts toward ourselves, even though you can see she's kind of hunched over and like carrying this load, but she's softening it with compassion toward herself. This is also about thinking, now I can't remember if I said this overtly or not, but when we have these divine bonds and partnerships, for some pairs, the counterpart can like sense and hear your thoughts and energy about them. And so this is another reminder that we need to be compassionate toward ourselves, and we also need to be compassionate toward them, even if we're not talking to them like in the 3D. So and look at all this light, just kind of coming off of that and lightening the load. It lightens when we are compassionate. It lightens the load that we carry with this. Now on their side, look how beautiful this is. So it's like this flower, but it's also this eye, and it's this. What what I was guided to go back to is the December 5th weekly reading was when we got these two cards. And what I pointed to this twice, this moon energy that's in their throat chakra, and it was about them being on the verge of speaking their own truth to themselves. And then this was the energy where they, this is actually almost like the combination of, where did that go? Of this card, like here's that flower kind of up in our crown. And this, which is the flower on their lips coming from their mouths now. And so they're actually ready to, they're looking at their truth. They're looking at their communication patterns. They are also ready to have whatever was brewing here in their throat chakra. It's ready to come forth from their lips. So that's, I mean, yeah, man, I'm not even sure what else to say about this, but it's just this, it's this really beautiful expression, and it's, and I'm just really loving all this blue color energy around them. I mean, this is that indigo, you know, the third eye, that indigo color magic in some ways. It's like they get in touch with their own intuition, they get in touch with their own hearts, and all of it, finally, they speak aloud. Not to us necessarily, but it comes out into their reality. Like they will be into their conscious awareness. They're not, there's no hiding from themselves anymore. They're coming to this kind of self-trust and a real softness. So, you guys, what a lovely, lovely way to end the year. I mean, this was a difficult month for everyone. It was a difficult year for everybody. And for us to end with just like both the reminders to be soft with ourselves, as well as some reassurance that softness is coming forth, is carrying us through, is guiding us. It's fantastic. So that does it for this week and for the year. Thank you so much again for joining me, for supporting my channel, and I cannot wait for all of what is going to unfold for us in the coming year. Take care, everyone.